Hi, I'm Jacob Mahon out of the Southeastern Equipment Heath location. I'm the lead technician at this branch. Today we're going to go over a basic machine inspection on a Case 590 Super N. So first we're going to start with a walk around. We'll start at the front of the machine. We're going to check the cutting edge, the hardware, for any cracks or anything on the bucket. We'll move up to the linkages, make sure that there's grease on the pins and the bushings, make sure there's no wear on the arms. We're going to check the cylinders for leakage. We're going to check all of our hoses and connections at the front of the machine. You want to check for any damage on the grill, something that could be causing a leak around the radiator or charged air cooler. We're going to continue on to the side of the machine. Same thing here, check for any hoses or leaks with the boom cylinders or hoses. We're going to check tire condition. We're going to check for leaks around the hub. We're going to check for any loose wheel bolts, anything that we could see there. We're going to come around, we're going to check the steering components. We're going to look and make sure that there's no broken steering components, nothing hanging down, nothing loose here. We're going to check for leaks around the axle housing, anything visible from up here. Continuing on around to the side of the machine, we have the fuel tank here. We'll look and see if we see any obvious leaks around the fuel tank or the def tank located here. Going further back, same thing with the rear tires. We want to check, make sure tread's okay, no cuts, gashes in the tire. Check all the wheel hardware, make sure you don't see any loose hardware before we enter in. One thing that's unique about the Backhoe is the outriggers with the pad feet. You want to inspect to make sure the feet are in good condition, especially if you're working on concrete or asphalt. This will keep from damaging those surfaces. Back here, again, you want to check your hoses, your cylinders, your swing cylinders here. You want to check that the bushings have plenty of grease. You want to check that the pins are okay here, that there are no loose tabs or bolts. You want to make sure that the lock is working properly. You can see it is engaged into the boom here. Continuing on to the boom at the rear of the machine, you want to do a good visual inspection of the cylinder and the hoses up top. Obviously at this point we can't get a close-up on them. We'll have to wait till we put the boom on the ground. You also want to check the bucket. The teeth here, you want to make sure that the pins are in the teeth, that the teeth are in good condition. You want to check for any cracks or anything in the bucket. Well, at the very rear here, we want to check that the coupler is in good shape. Some of these can be optioned with a hydraulic coupler, so if that's the case, you will have a cylinder and some hoses back here that you want to check. In this case, we just have a mechanical coupler. Make sure everything looks good, make sure that there's grease in all the pins and bushings. And now that we've done a walk around on that side, we'll continue on to this side and we're going to check for the same things. Tire condition, wheel lug nuts and studs, make sure they're in good shape. On this side of the machine, we have the hydraulic tank. So while we're at this point, you can check the hydraulic level to make sure that it is in range. You can see this one's a little bit low, but nothing alarming, so we're okay there. We also want to check hoses and cylinders on this side of the machine. And same here with the steering components like the other side. Make sure that nothing's obviously broken or worn out. And front tires as well. Check front tires, front wheel bolts, and you want to check that your hubs are not leaking, that there's no leaks around or loose plugs up here. And then finally, we'll check the bucket cylinder and hoses on this side. Make sure that everything is in good shape there. Now with the hood raised, we'll check the engine oil level, then we'll raise the loader arms and inspect everything else under the hood. You always want to make sure that the machine is on level ground before doing this, so that way you get an accurate reading on the dipstick. This is a new machine, so the oil is fairly clear, but you can tell that we are full on the dipstick, so we are good to start the engine. Now that the loader arms are raised, you want to make sure you get out and install the support strut on the loader arm cylinder. Now that we got the hood open, some things you want to check. You want to check the fuel filters. You want to make sure that there's no leaks around the top of the fuel filters. And you also, this machine has a clear fuel bowl. You want to make sure there's no water in the bowl. If there is, go ahead and loosen the drain cock and drain that water out. Next thing you want to check is the oil filter. Make sure there's no leaks around the engine oil filter. You want to go ahead and pull the lid off of the air box and make sure that the filter is not completely plugged with air or with dirt. If it is, you're going to want to clean that thing out. Another thing to check while we're over here is the coolant level. You want to check that the coolant level is full before starting the machine. After you check the coolant level, you also want to check that your radiator hoses aren't leaking and that any of your air intake hoses are tight and there's no rips or rubs in any of the boots. Then we're going to walk around to the other side of the machine here. A few things to check here are going to be your belts. You want to make sure that the belt is centered on the pulleys, both your main fan drive belt and your AC belt. Another good thing to do is rotate the fan around by hand. Make sure there's no chips or cracks in the blade. Make sure it's not contacting anything. You want to check and make sure any battery cables at the starter or alternator are tight and that they're not contacting anything. One other thing you can check is for exhaust leaks. Make sure you don't see any obvious soot that could be coming out of the exhaust from a loose clamp. And also check here, make sure you don't see any oil leaking from around the turbo. Once all those things are checked, you're safe to go inside. We'll start the machine up and we'll do some checks with the engine running. Now, once we're in the cab, you want to turn the key on and you want to check all functions, all switches inside of the cab. So you want to check all your lights, your wipers. You want to go to the side console, make sure the menus for the display work, make sure there's no error codes or messages on the display. And then you want to go to the rear to your backhoe functions. You want to check all the switches for all of your backhoe functions. Once that's complete, we'll turn the light switches on and we'll go out and check all the work lights around the machine. Okay, now with the lights on, we're out of the cab. We'll walk around and make sure all of our lights are functioning properly. You can see our front work lights are on. Both of our front hazard lights are flashing. Come around to the side. We have a side work lights working properly. Our rear flashers and rear work lights on both sides are working properly, and our other side work light is functioning properly. Now that we're in the machine, we're going to start it up, bring it up to operating temperature, and we're going to check the transmission fluid level. Now that the machine's running, we're going to check the transmission fluid level. Once you verify the fluid level is good, you want to check for any leaks that could be happening with the engine running. Make sure there's no oil or fuel spraying anywhere. If everything's good there, we can close the hood, lower the loader arms, and we can do our operational check. After our operational checks, we've checked to make sure everything is working as it should. Now the outriggers are down with some pressure on them and the boom is out of its stow position. So we can go around, we can check the cylinders, make sure we don't see any leakage here around any of the hoses at the outriggers on both sides. We can also see the boom cylinder a little better. We can see our bucket hoses and lines here a little bit better. We can see the pins. You want to check all that stuff for wear. You don't want to see any fraying in the hoses or loose fittings. Also, while we have the machine up in the air, this is a perfect time for you to get down. Again, don't get under the machine in this position, but you can get down and look and make sure that after you operated it, there's no hydraulic or transmission or engine oil leaks from the bottom of the machine. So we completed the inspection on this Case 590 Super N. This machine being brand new, we didn't find anything with it, but if you find anything with your machine, reach out to us for your service and parts need at any of our Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, or Kentucky locations.